Story number 2. What people dare to do is now a hot topic. Now, this story surfaced in because people are doing doing things to not only their body, but they're doing things that are a little bit unnerving. It's unusual, and they're operating off of the dare. It's the basically the self dare, pushing yourselves to the outer limits. Some people are even breaking the law. Now, there's some stories that surface in about how there's been 8 deaths linked to vaping, and there's more cases that are being reported across the United States. Now, this is a health concern, and the reason why this story is such an amazing story is because the fact that these issues about what people are doing to themselves are not only causing harm to their bodies, but it's causing harm to the people around them, because when people see one person doing it, they will think it's okay for them to do it, and it's causing an uproar. Thousands of fetal remains were found in a doctor's Illinois garage. This dates back to 2000. Now, this story will also be in the healthcare story that made it in, because of the fact that this is an abortion doctor that had fetal remains that go back to 2000. Now, this doctor is now passed away, but it shows you what people are doing, and what they're, even when women are being raped, what they're doing to their bodies, and why they're doing this to their bodies. Some people just think differently, and for some odd reason, babies and fetal remains, fetal tissues, fetal, however you want to word it, are being caught in the crosshair. So the idea and the thought of a woman getting rid of a fetus because she cannot take care of it, does not want to take on the responsibility of what would happen when she brings it to the world. Some of these women even have more children, and it's a thought that weighs heavily on their conscience in later life. So this story is definitely a hot topic. It definitely has a lot of talking points, and when you talk about brainstorming all these issues, it has you wondering about moral responsibility and the moral code of conduct that we have as human beings. Facebook employee, this story, I caught the tail end of this story, but they were saying how a Facebook employee jumped to death from headquarters, jumped to his death from a headquarters in North Carolina. I still have to do a little bit more in-depth research on this story, because there's been a lot going on at Facebook, with Zuckerberg having hearings with Congress, and definitely when this headline caught my attention, because people are even daring to commit suicide, daring to get that itch of death. You even seen it with the Epstein case, where he got into the prison system and decided to commit suicide. There's even some stories that I found surfacing about how some prison guards were being hired to basically a staged suicide case. So these stories are just developing, and they're just, some of them have to be researched to kind of do it. There's still a lot more investigating to do to see how true these stories are, but you can see what's happening when people are dared to do things. They dare themselves to stop living in this life, or they just can't take it anymore. The joke about storming Area 51 actually turned into a reality. So the bravery of the adventurous side of Americans is starting to take place, even when they're challenging the rule of life and death. Pro-life event in Minnesota disrupted by bomb threat. So a lot of these people are taking matters into their own hands, and then when they don't have confidence in this justice system, or they don't feel like things are done right, they take matters into their own hand, and that's why you see story number 2 and the top 8 definitely has a lot of things happening within the story. Pennsylvania man dropped explosives on an ex-girlfriend's property from a drone, according to prosecutors. So you see, technology is in the mix. bombs. These stories like this have the potential to grow because they involve violence, they involve the action, they involve the just the dare of what you would do in a situation where you basically have no choice but to put matters into your own hands. Would you walk away, or would you do something drastic like to prove a point, to show people that you are protesting against the norms of society? A German mom, daughter facing eviction, blows up their house. Look at this story and you look at it in the details. These are people who are taking drastic measures to prove a point. Some people say they would not respond like this, but there are people who take the dare and they respond heavily, and they involve everybody around, and they start involving everybody around them. Pennsylvania father allegedly blows up house on daughter's wedding day in apparent suicide. Story number 2 is the outer limits, where people go where they can't seek help within their own governing system. They start to take matters into their own hands. That's why this story is not only the beginning of a new stage of journalism, but it is opening up doors to what people will do to be heard, and it's taking journalists and people on the front lines into the center of how humans think and how we can take matters when we're pushed to the limits. I talked about how last week, how even the president, when he was insulted by Obama at some of these meetings, some of these political gatherings, what he did when he ran for president, and how many people on his side of the aisle view the past administration. They think of this as a combat, basically a competition between two sides, and you can see it's pushed this president to the brinks of just of unknowns in this presidency. He's done things that have been unknown or unheard of through any past presidents. Could he be acting on that rage to outdo the past administration? But you see stories like this surface, and it tickles the dare. I dare you to run for president and see if you win. And when you win, how will you govern? And that's why the story number 2 has all the potential to create a mass discussion. Teen arrested for I guess a plan to shoot 400 people. She dared herself to do this, and she figured it would be exciting. She said it would be fun, and she was police, according to a police report, they found an AK-47 in her bedroom. So story number 2 definitely centers you in, boxes you in to see how human beings think and what we will do to not only push ourselves to an adventurous side, but what we will do once we cross the brink of not only just insanity, but the brink of a dare. There's no turning back once you take on that dare. So story number 2, definitely what happens when people dare to do something. This is a hot topic, and it's definitely has the potential to stay alive. Story number 2, I don't see leaving the news anytime soon, because people are doing some unbelievable things. I think there was even a story that surfaced in about how some teens in California were having sexual relations with dead bodies. Now these stories are surfacing in, so they may the dialogue and the literature of the stories may change as people do more investigating. That's why I'm very cautious how I report the headlines. But these stories are surfacing in, and they're happening in real time. You're in the Mediator with me, Brian West, where it's my supreme duty every week to give you the top 8 headlines developing news stories. If you want to go to the website and check out the stories that almost made it in, you're more than welcome to. Or if you want to contribute anywhere, all you have to do is visit www.method8inc.com, method80.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or just sponsor a program. Every little bit counts. Constantly reminding you, the audience, that I'm just a mediator, standing in the middle, navigating the news just for you. The news outlets and the journalists deserve all the credit. I'm just the mediator, staying in the middle, navigating the news just for you, to keep you informed, keep you up to date, keep you on top of your game. But the news journalists and outlets, the people who are on the front lines getting the stories, they deserve all the credit. If you want to help out my cause, I contribute to the arts, do independent projects. You're more than welcome to. All you have to do is visit www.method8inc.com, method8inc.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or just sponsor a program. Every minute counts.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is